Hey guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to play Kashtira. So, as you can see here, my hand is completely insane. I'm playing a little bit of a more budget version, But honestly, Big Bang is not like completely necessary, I guess. So here we'll just summon our copy of Unicorn. Okay. So for this hand, I believe the best ad is not going to be, is it Theosis? No, probably Birth is probably okay, or Theosis. I don't think it particularly matters that much, but for the grind game, Kashtira, Theosis, and Big Bang help a lot. So this will allow for like a play later, more or less, right? So I guess for now we will go. Let's see. Theosis, I guess. Why not? Sure. So then we will activate Theosis, I guess. We could have done either or. That doesn't super matter. So here we will now special summon from our deck. We'll go with, I guess, Ogre here. Yeah. There's no point in summoning Fenrir. Okay. So now we'll Ogre grab Prep. Prep doesn't go super hard here, and then we will summon Rise Heart. If our opponent did max us on Unicorn, I guess, to give them less summons, it's more worth to actually go for Birth, honestly, because then we could like grab Birth, normal summon our copy of Ogre, and then special summon Rise Heart, and that'll be 2 draws. So here we just activate Rise Heart like this. There's literally no point in ever making Shangri-Ira, honestly, if you can make a Rise Heart straight up. I'll give you 2 reasons why you shouldn't. Okay, reason 1. How many summons does that take? So, alright. If I'm at 3 right now, summon Shangri-Ira, 4, and then summon a Rise Heart, and let's say we just stop there. How many summons? That would be 5 summons. Nibiru. And boom, that sucks if you get hit by Nibiru. So here, I guess, you could send, like, whatever you feel. Like, here, since we have, like, Prep, I guess we'll just send Fenrir, or we can send Unicorn. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. We can send whatever we want. Pretty much. So, and then we just make, like, a Rise Heart pass. So, yeah. Now we have just the Rise Heart. That's it. Yeah, this might not look like much, but this is pretty much the optimal play. So, if you make Shangri-Ira and Rise Heart, let's say there isn't a Nibiru. Making Shangri-Ira can just lose you the duel. So, obviously, if you make Shangri-Ira, chances are you'll want to activate Shangri-Ira. If you make it, honestly, just don't activate Shangri-Ira. It's just not worth it. If Shangri-Ira is activated at all, doesn't specify player. Once per turn, you can also XYZ summon Kashtira or Rise Heart by using one Kashtira monster you control if an effective Kashtira Shangri-Ira was successfully activated this turn. So, if we actually did our play, right, where we go Shangri-Ira and then like make a Rise Heart on top of Rise Heart, this also puts our Rise Heart at specifically 1 material, and that puts us at risk because our opponent can just now special summon a Rise Heart on top of any cash, and you have Shangri-Ira, right? Shangri-Ira, our opponent can always attack into Shangri-Ira more or less, right? And when they do, they'll have met another fun condition. Zeus. Once per turn, if an XYZ monster battled this turn, you can also XYZ summon Divine Arsenal Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, Sky Thunder by using one XYZ monster you control as material. And then this just wipes out your whole board, and you can't really respond to it with anything. And boom, you're dead. The only play that saves you if you made Shangri-Ira here, I believe, is that when they summon Arise Heart, you have to get rid of it, like, instantly. And there are two ways to do this. First is to force the Arise Heart to trigger, so that you can Fenrir banish their copy of Arise Heart. Whether it's before or after battle phase, doesn't really matter. They can actually kind of pick, which is a bit crazy. So, for example, if I have Imperm, I can just activate this, and then it'll be mandatory for my opponent to activate their copy of Arise Heart, and then we can banish it with Fenrir because Monster Effect was activated, right? And Imperm will be banished because of our own Arise Heart. And then the next thing to start thinking about is actually using Fenrir. Like, if we have a lot of cards here, we can just do Fenrir, add Tearlament's Kashtira. And Tearlament's Kashtira, like, some people will think isn't that great, but when you have, like, an insane enough hand, you can use the effect of Tearlament's Kashtira to banish one of your tier cards, or not tier cards, Kashtira cards. So here we have Theosis in the graveyard, right? And this is a little bit intentional because then we can banish Kashtira Theosis off of the effect of our Kashtira Tearlaments. So when we do this, we'll be able to like add a cash card, which is helpful, it's nice. But what we're mostly focusing on is that it's going to banish Kashtira Theosis, actually, and then that will trigger our Arise Heart. Our Arise Heart will actually then be able to attach our Kashtira Theosis, and then we have the effect of Kashtira Tearlaments to mill. And then we just simply choose ourselves, and then instead of getting sent to the graveyard, our cards will be banished instead, once again triggering Arise Heart. So assuming our Arise Heart was at 1 material, that play puts our Arise Heart at 3 materials. But of course, if we just raw Arise Heart pass, right, we can't really do that, right? And you see our hand still has some Fenrir and Ogre in it, right? And this just helps you deal with like just the Zeus play that happens in the mirror. So Kashtira Tearlaments, really helpful for that, and you don't have to waste anything like an Imperm. And you can just simply like Fenrir add Kashtira Tearlaments, or like if I had preparations, I can use preparations to do something vaguely similar. And it just helps you get there. And of course, we pass. And like Kashtira Arise Heart, it's just fine to just pass on this by itself. It's not like actually that big of a deal. So here we'll just do this, and even with this, we still have a decent amount of interactions. It's not the best, could be better, but this is just kind of what you gotta do, I guess. So first, we have our Ash Blossom in hand. That is interaction. Our Ice Heart Banish. That is an interaction. And then after that, we have our Kashtira Fenrir here. Or we could technically bring any of these back after we use a Rise Heart effect. But we're mostly going to probably be bringing out Fenrir. Unicorn is still useful for completely shutting down like a lot of Zeus plays, which is pretty great in of itself. So here we have our follow-up, and we can just kill next turn. So we'll special summon Fenrir here, and then we'll be able to attach a guy. Doesn't matter, we'll attach one of our opponent's cards. Ventred, Revolution, whatever. And then next we'll do preparations again. Targeting, we'll go Unicorn. And then here, this right here is almost game already. So then we can just Unicorn, grab like Birth. assuming our opponent did something, I guess here we can do Fenrir grabbing Tirlumin's Kashtira, and this actually does a decent amount of stuff for us here. So we can do this, and then we'll banish Kashtira Theosis, trigger a Rise Heart. We'll activate this. We could chain block, but I don't really care enough. Okay, and then Fiddleman's Kashtira effect. So we can now, like, if we don't care about getting our Rise Heart to 3 materials, we can instead do our opponents, and this will just mill them out a little bit. Hopefully we hit one of their, like, key cards, something important, I guess. That's just, you know, something we could try for. And even if we mill our opponents, this still triggers our Rise Heart anyways, actually, so might as well if we don't have anything left to mill. Sometimes it's better to keep your cards in the deck, I guess. And then here we have Birth, which allows for more extension, summon Rise Heart, and then we can just go into like pretty much anything in our extra deck at this point on the next turn. So we're doing pretty well here. So things to note: Ash Blossom Joy Spring. This can only be negated by specifically Crossout Designator or like Psyframe Gear Gamma. Called Bite doesn't work because this is not in the graveyard. And yeah, that's about it. So if we get impermed or anything on our Rise Heart, of course it sucks, but not much you can do. This is about like the best I think you can do with Kashtira, like just in general. Sure, we could like activate Big Bang, but that doesn't get us a whole lot. There's also like the play of using Rise Heart now to banish Big Bang and then detach a guy off of like our Rise Heart, but honestly there aren't even that many good rank 7s to go into, which is like, you know, it hurts a bit. If we could make like a rank 7 that like at least was a monster negate, it would make me feel less insecure, you know, like right here, let's say our opponent just has something. If our opponent unironically had Mirror Force, well, what do I do here? I cannot banish it face down. Like, let's say they have 3 set cards and one of them is Mirror Force. That's a 30% chance I hit Mirror Force, so it's like a nearly a 70% chance I just get completely blasted by Mirror Force. Like, really. Worst case scenario is specifically if I get hit by, which Mirror Force was it? I don't remember. The one that just sets all of your monsters face down and you can't change their battle position. Like, yeah, that one. I have one open zone. Fenrir will have to carry, I guess, from that point, right? So let's just do one more hand, I guess. See if we can get anything better. Or worse, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, this hand's whatever. I might try to use Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon to bait, is what I would say, but I mean, I have to summon Unicorn now, or I will never be able to summon Unicorn. So let's assume like our Unicorn gets like negated here by something like, I don't know, Imperm. Typical, happens. Since the mirror is still like happening a lot, honestly. You're better off Unicorn passing, even if you have a play like this. Like, let's say this was Rise Heart. Like, do we even bother making Shangri-La pass? It's probably just straight up not worth it. This meets their Rise Heart condition for them. So if we just draw Unicorn pass and just saved our like Rise Heart for next turn, I think that would be better, honestly. It's just kind of how it goes, you know? There's not a whole lot that gets done for us, honestly, if we go ahead and make Shangri-La right here. So this is 1 point of interaction, right? So if we go ahead and do this, we can now summon like Fenrir, for example, right? But the big thing isn't summoning Fenrir, honestly, off of Shangri-Ira. It's for turn 3 when we can summon whatever cash name we want. So like we could summon another unicorn, for example. We can summon Kashtira 2 elements if we want. Just whatever is fine. Alright. This effect. Goblin zombie. Chimera. This effect. Guess we banish the Chimera. Whatever. And here, honestly, like, if this Shangri-Ira triggers, it doesn't really do a whole lot for us. So our main point of interaction will be Fenrir, unless our opponent for some reason needs like all 5 of either their spell trap zones or their like monster zones. Making Shangri-Ira does nothing for us here. And our board can be wiped like even worse than before with like any cash name. Our opponent can normal or special any cash name and then just attack into Shangri-Ira. And then boom, make a Rise Heart Zeus. Unless we have a way to force them to trigger a Rise Heart, no way for Fenrir to banish. So, that sucks. And now, during the standby, I guess we have our continuation play here. But was it like that worth? Like, we could have had our copy of, like, for example, a Rise Heart just chilling in our hand still, and then just any cash name would work. And we still have our play for this turn as well. So it's not like that bad, honestly. To just straight up unicorn pass. In comparison to make Shangri-Ira. It's all like somewhat situational, but having gone through like the Shangri-Ira won't necessarily help you out either. So that's just kind of how it goes, I guess. Guess we just grab Birth, why not? And then, I don't know. Whatever's fine. And if we had just a single unicorn, we're chilling anyways, right? If whether they clear unicorn or not doesn't matter if you have like continuation, right? If they remove unicorn, then fine. You can just summon like another cash name and still probably have your play, right? And what did we draw for turn here? Called by. Well, that wasn't a cash name, but there's a good chance you draw into a cash name anyways. So, honestly, not a big deal at all. Cool thing, I guess, that's worth mentioning is, with Dark Arm Dragon, you have a few plays that you would make. So, 2 elements Kashtira, Scareclaw, Kashtira, and also Rise Heart are pretty valuable, honestly, for like a variety of reasons. One of the reasons worth mentioning is that actually, like in situations like these, where your opponent has 1 back row set, for example, there's a good chance a lot of the time that this is actually imperm and they can like kind of protect their well, protect their board, I guess. So in cases like those, you can activate Dark Arm Dragon here, and then in fact we can activate Dark Arm twice here. If we were able to freely do that, that would help, but like, let's assume we don't have Shangri-Ira. We can pop the back row, and then we just banish our like cash card that we detached to make Dark Arm Dragon, and then here we can just make Zeus on top of this, and that's a play we can do. So that play is going to make it so that the only monster we control will be Zeus. So in this situation, like, having Donner also helps, so I would highly recommend, like, a Donner, but our opponent has to play off of top decks at this point, so let us just simply pass here. Well, in this hand, though, we happen to have a continuation play after Zeus. Because we have Telemans Kashtira, we can summon this. Banishing, I don't know, Unicorn's fine, and then we still have Birth Effect, and we can... I don't think I normal summon, so I can normal summon Unicorn. I only have one copy of Theosis because I'm a broke boy, but I guess you can like, grab Theosis off of Unicorn as well, so that's cool. Probably the one you banished off of Tier Cash. But like, now our opponent has a monster, and that allows us to Donner, so we can remove our Zeus that way. But like, in this case, we don't need to do that. Let's say, for example, we had an Ash Blossom Joe Spring. We could normal summon Ash Blossom Joe Spring, pop Donner and that card, and then we just summon Sheer Unicorn, and that would work. But like, in case of this hand, we can do like Tier Cash, and then banish Unicorn, and then we can activate this effect to mill ourselves a bit, or we can mill our opponent. Depends on the situation, honestly. So here I have like pretty much every single cash name I care about in circulation. We could mill a Rise, like a single Rise art, but that would not help us out that much. We can search it anyways. So Birth here, and now we can normal summon Unicorn as well. So then we have this play where we special summon Unicorn. We can leave this copy of Fenrir here. Doesn't super matter. So here we do Theosis. We can do Fenrir. Special, right? And then we can do, like, we'll probably just go Ogre. No need for Rise Art here. And then we can do this to grab, like, Prep. And then this allows us to summon back this Fenrir, which is pretty neat. But here we'll probably go, let's see. We'll need 3 guys here for this. But we have lethal here if we do this for sure. So let's go Tier Cash. Let's go Fenrir. And then I'm pretty sure in this case, like in this situation, your opponent has no cards in hand, 1 card on field. Let's assume we don't have lethal for some reason. Would we rather have Unicorn or Ogre? I think Ogre is just still moderately better. The reason being, we can see our opponent's top deck, and there's a 50% chance, like, well, if you think about it, well, it's not a 50% chance. If our opponent has to top deck to save their life at this point, right? Well, we can just stop them from top decking anything meaningful. So let's start with banishing this. What was the set? I'm curious. Let's see. Hound Horde. So if our opponent, well, we have lethal, right? But if our opponent had like another monster or whatever and we couldn't lethal, then we could rip one out of our opponent's extra deck, and that would help for sure. But we could also just look at their next 5 cards, and then we get to choose between the next 2 cards that they draw, right? Or potentially hit one of their important combo pieces that they need, that we can just completely get rid of. For example, let's say we're playing against Branded and they still have Branded Fusion in deck. We could hit Branded Fusion off of this, and that's better than looking into their extra deck because they run multiple copies of everything. So in this case, we know their next cards here. So they have Avenged Anima, Charge, Zombie Master, Revenants, and then Battle Lord in this order. So Vendred Charge says send one zombie monster from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard. Special summon a Vendred monster from your deck. So we know that is completely dead, so we can just go ahead and banish Vendred Anima because it is a normal summon. So boom. We can do that and we'll be able to attach like whatever we want here. Let's attach Goblin Zombie, why not? And then, just like this, let's say our opponent lives somehow. No lethal. So here, they actually have the play to summon Handhorn, but that doesn't matter a whole lot, I guess. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the graveyard. And see, yeah. Happens, I guess. Hound Horde, whatever. Next cards. Still the same, pretty much. We'll get rid of Origin. Next card will be Zombie Master. And I guess we'll just attach this. It doesn't matter if it gets banished too much. And then we just get rid of Hound Horde as well. If your opponent has stuff in the graveyard, of course, like, stuff can trigger and make it harder to lethal, so sometimes these things come up, and it doesn't always come up, but when it does, you want to be pretty prepared for it, I guess. Let's go grab Unicorn, why not? We would have prep here as well, I guess, but whatever. Group Henry. But, yeah. Here, like, we could honestly just keep doing this for a while. Like, sometimes it actually happens where you just, for some reason, can't lethal, and you'll just need to keep ogering their top deck to be something, like, awful. Like, for example, Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. As you're just beating their face down with, like, a Zeus or Ogre or whatever. And that will tend to happen because there's a lot of board wipes that people are going to be running against your deck anyways, so this is just something you should be, like, mindful of, so, yeah. Now, I guess we should wrap up by looking at a few texts. Alright. So, let's go ahead and go into here. Don't mind this mess of a list. I don't highly recommend copying this for various reasons, but whatever. So, the first thing to consider as tech is Ibli. So, a lot of the time you can actually do a combo without actually doing or requiring your normal summon. So that's where you can just normal summon Ibli. Especially with, like, Theosis now. So that hand, not good example, and I don't have 3 Theosis, so let's do that, and that should fix up our hands a little bit. So here, this is, like, not going to work because we have Scareclaw Cash and then Red Eyes Black Meteor. So that's whatever. Okay. So here's the hand we were going to be looking for. So here, what we can do is we can special summon Unicorn. We can grab our copy of Kashtira Theosis, Pressured Planet, Rates Off, whatever. So for right now, I'm just playing Lingribo for fun, but honestly, Lingribo's not the play. Instead of Lingribo, you want to be playing Almirage. And there's a reason for this, obviously. So this tributes itself, so even under macro, you can activate this effect. But let's try for another one of those Ibli hands. Alright. So this will do. So this hand, kind of mid, but whatever. So making Shangri-Ira in this hand, actually not problematic. So first off, if we summon Ibli, this protects against Raigeki, so doesn't it? Let's see. Target one monster you control, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. So, in fact, if your opponent had Raigeki, Dark Hole, yeah, you could protect it. It's just not destructible this turn. Period. So here I would special summon Fenrir, and then we can normal summon Ibli here. And also, Fenrir effect is like a thing, but we can just hold on to it for now. It doesn't really matter. So we link it off for the Almirage, and Almirage is not possible to crash into with Ibli, unlike with like Lingribo. So that's a little bit more of a reason to play Almirage, I guess. We're going like first or second Almirage is probably going to be the play. Lingribo's not really going to work out that well because you're going to have to summon a cash name first, and then like Ibli, and it's going to be a mess. Well, it's going to be a bit of a mess either way, but you just have to keep in mind your like Kashtira restriction where you can only special summon from your hand if you do not control any monsters. But like here, I wouldn't be like that opposed to making Shangri-Ira. So all you have to do here is just special summon Ibli, and then your opponent has to have like some way to get rid of Ibli. And some people just don't, you know, and they'll just be stuck with your Ibli. And Ibli does two things primarily on the first turn. So this will turn off infinite impermanence. Ibli will be special summoned, and your opponent will control a card, right? So imperm is not activatable, either on their turn or yours now. And then the second thing this does is it protects you against Nibiru. Even if you're not going to be floodgating your opponent out with, for example, like, assuming they don't have a Lingribo to link it off and they're also on cash, then whatever, right? This will protect you against the Nib, and that's actually a pretty huge thing to protect against. And also Kaijus. You can't be Kaiju'd. Kirikara Div Incarnate does not work, so this is a little better than Fog King, but Fog King is less expensive. Fog King is only a rare card. So here we could, for example, summon Fenrir, Rise Heart, and then we can just banish something for the next turn. In this case, we could do, let's see, probably not Unicorn. I guess just Ogre is fine. But we already have Ogres, so we could do like pretty much whatever. Doesn't super matter, I guess. Whatever you think is best, I suppose, can be banished off of Rise Art. And then we can make Shangri-Ira here, Shangri-Ira to summon like Fenrir again, and then next turn probably summoning Unicorn, and then yeah, you're just doing a whole lot better. And of course you could just summon everything in defense, so nothing for Ibli to crash into. They can try to crash into Almirage, but 0 versus 0 doesn't get destroyed by battle. So yeah. And even if, let's say, it did get destroyed by battle, you'd be able to tribute Almirage anyways. And this tribute's for cost, so you can't negate Almirage tribute or anything. And assuming, of course, like, we have, for example, a Rise Heart. So let's look for a slightly different hand. So, yeah. This hand does not work. Let's try a little bit harder. And yeah, this one will probably work. Yeah. So here we can immediately, well, because of what our hand happens to be, we can immediately normal summon Ibli, and then we can special summon Ibli to our opponent's field by linking it off for Almirage, and then we can go ahead and special summon Rise Heart and Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, as well as the Ascendant of Thunder. So it's like special summon Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, and then Ascendant of Thunder, special summon Shangri-Ira, and then special summon Rise Heart effect to banishing whatever you think is best. So Kashtira Theosis or a Big Bang would be decent here, and then you'd be able to get like a continuation play for later, I guess. And your opponent is stuck with Ibli, and they can't droplet away Ibli. Not that droplet was ever an issue. So the only way to get rid of Ibli is either by tributing Ibli, well, typically though, well, not tribute actually. I meant to say link or tribute summon over Ibli. So those are the two like ways that are hardest for you to stop. So if they immediately just link this off for Lingribo, okay, they have Lingribo now, right? But yeah, this still leaves your opponent worse if they're playing Cash and you just banish their normal summon and then they're still stuck and they can't do any of their Cash play. So Ibli, pretty brutal to deal with, right? And here is a hand of all time. Let's draw two, just in theory, see if this works. No. We can't make use of Ibli here. It's a little bricky right now, but it's probably because I just haven't fixed up the ratios on this list, honestly. I think that's the issue here. We could use a bit more engine. I think we might be able to just cut out Rhoda altogether. Yeah. Well, that's for later, I guess. So here, special summon Ogre, normal summon Ibli. You can grab, like, prep and stuff, and you're doing better, and you have a Rise Heart once again, and your opponent is stuck with Ibli, and if they do have, like, some destruction-based effect, like a Raigeki, you actually have protection, so you can protect your Rise Heart, so that's just nice to have, I guess. And yeah, that's the primary tech I wanted to just talk about here. Just normal summon Ibli, right? In all those hands, we didn't really have anything else to normal summon anyways. So, might as well normal summon Ibli, I guess. So, yeah. That just gets the job done, you know? Just whatever. And also for, let's see. For like one more kind of obsolete random tech. Let's see, we have Cypherm Gear Gamma, I guess. If you special summon Gamma, it doesn't actually clog your fields. And this is just a solid going second card, so you can just make Omega and then it's gone and you can do your Cash plays. And you're doing a bit better, I guess. And that'll help you out a little bit. For a really psychopathic play, I guess, you could also technically run rank 4. If you have like double Rise Heart, you can make a rank 4 and sometimes come up. I mean, you have like a decent amount of extra deck space to mess around with. One of the ones that I'm just going to recommend because Dogmatic Punishment and like Dogmatic Ritual is being played for whatever reason. Yeah, so in your extra deck, but with your like extra deck space, you could just fill up on like stuff like Natis. And then Cypherm Lord Omega helps like put keycards back into your extra deck if your opponent just chooses to send them to the graveyard, so this helps a little bit with that. Like, Natis will just pop one of your opponent's cards, and that's helpful, I guess. I don't know why, or when this started happening, but people are they just started playing, like, Mikanko with, like, Dogmatica. I don't know why, but that's a thing, I guess, so. Yeah, just having Natis, this will help you remove some of your opponent's annoying cards. And there are some other, like, cards in the extra deck that you can run for, like, when your cards get sent from the extra deck to the graveyard, so something worth considering, I guess. And let's see, anything else? Not really, I guess. That covers most of what I want to show, I guess. So if you guys have any more techs or any ways to out or like beat my techs, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.